Democratic Senator from Rhode Island, Sheldon Whitehouse. He is the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Federal Courts, Oversight, Agency Action, and Federal Rights. Senator, I thank you so very much for your time. As always, I want to just start our conversation with first your reaction to what happened there in Tallahassee.
You know, once again, it is kids paying the price of our adult irresponsibility at creating gun safety for them. And it's for the worst of all possible reasons, which is the influence of the gun industry itself.
Yeah, we still, as I said, there's still so many questions on this, and it's just such a horrible tragedy. Again, you know, as we get to what some kids are going to be graduating and will be graduating, but I just want to, and Senator, if I could, to kind of focus a little bit on something that you've been very focused on. I know you sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi warning against the president's, quote, recent directive to investigate his enemies. You also add, now that President Trump has given you two names and asked you to look for a crime, you face a pretty clear test. It ought to be an easy one. Now, since sending that to her office on Monday, Chris Krebs, one of the former officials targeted by the president's order, has resigned his private sector role to focus, he says, on defending himself, writing, "I don't shy away from tough fights. This will require my complete focus and energy. It's a fight for democracy, for freedom of speech, and for the rule of law." Do you have any indication, Senator, that the Attorney General heard you?
Not yet. What's interesting is that during her confirmation hearings, we addressed almost this exact situation. We were talking about Kash Patel's enemies list, and I asked her, you'd never start with names and then go out and try to find a crime to target the names. The way it works in prosecution is that you have a crime and then you investigate who did the crime. And she gave me a lecture about Biden weaponization and all of that stuff. But, you know, very clear in her talking points that this was not the way you do it. You don't pick a name and then go out and hunt them, as Kash Patel's enemies list had suggested. And now, boom, here come the two names from Trump. We want you to prosecute Chris Krebs. We want you to prosecute Miles Taylor. Go find a crime. So it's kind of a little bit of a moral moment for her to determine what kind of a prosecutor she's going to be, because this is prosecutive rule 1. This is not complicated.
Senator, I just was wondering, you know, your thoughts on all of this that we've been covering this. Not only the one specific person who lived in Maryland, was an undocumented migrant, but that had a stay on deportation and was sent on that last flight, the third flight, to a prison in El Salvador, where he is from, but he is put in that maximum security prison. I'm just wondering, when you see what the president promised, the largest deportation force in American history, coming to fruition, what are your main concerns?
Well, there'll be a lot more lawbreaking if this case with Mr. Garcia is any indication, and it's kind of awkward when you're the president of the United States and you're the lawbreaker in chief. But I think you'll hear a lot more about Mr. Garcia in the future, because first of all, there's a very plain legal action called the Bivens action that you can bring against federal officials who've knowingly violated your constitutional rights. This is a pretty damn strong Bivens case, and he could get very substantial damages, compensatory damages for the time he spent in the Salvadoran hellhole from the officials involved. And then you've got a very angry federal judge who feels he's been lied to by lawyers. And that has a lot of consequences as you dig into either criminal or civil contempt of court.
Do you think that there is a chance that he will one day emerge from that Secot prison in El Salvador?
Well, here's a hypothetical result. The judge says this was outrageous. What you've done violated an existing court order. It lied to me. You've dissembled to the court. You violated your oaths as lawyers, and you put this person in terribly grave peril. So I'm going to put the government under a civil contempt sanction of $1 million a day until he comes back. So there you go. Add up the millions. Oh, and by the way, I'll consider awarding some of that to the victim if this isn't solved quickly. So, things like that can happen, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Federal judges don't like being lied to by lawyers in their courtrooms.
Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, it's great seeing you. I thank you very much for your time, and I want to thank you for the privilege of your time. Deadline Whitehouse starts after a quick break.